Okay, so if you're gonna play like Soultaker Shadow, it's not a particularly hard deck. It's fairly simple. However, there's a huge amount of variation you can have in the list to even, you know, OTKing on 5, which is extremely inconsistent but very fun. You can run pure trash in full Machina Shadow stuff. You know, if you want to summon Colossal Skull Lord over and over and over, yeah, you can have loads of fun. You can even get off on turn 4 by getting Cloister's Satritition out. You play this on 2, you bury the right 2 times. Oh, you have to go second as well. BR 2 times, make it go down to... It pops on 4, you evolve it on Departed, play Lara, play Departed, and then you've got your turn 4 combo, which is absolutely nuts. Because now you've got like a 7-7, a 4-4, a 5-5 which summons a 5-5, and a 5-7, and a 5-7 on the board. It's just completely crazy. It's super absurd what you can do with this stuff. But first of all, before talking about necessarily the good things you can include, we need to talk about how the deck works, which is fairly simple. You mulligan for your turn 1s, Ileons, Demonic Procession, Thunder God. You're not always are running Ileons, but you are always running Thunder God and Demonic Procession. Every single list mulligans for these cards. Death Mistress is pretty bad in this list for the mulligan. There's not that many targets you want to hold. The list is a bit tight for it. If you're running no Chaotic Dooms, but you were running Cloistered, should be a much better keep, especially when going first. That's the wrong list. Since you would then just BR it. But with Chaotic Doom, you either use Accelerate if you wanna play Pachinko, or you can just Death Mistress it and have things be consistent. That's your prerogative, I think would be a correct word there. But yeah, Accelerate is sometimes nice, it's usually bad. Just don't suck and it's good. If you're good at the game, the Excel's good. If you're bad at the game, the Excel's bad. It's that simple. But in a lot of lists, Death Mistress is really nice keep. If you've got Ileons, do keep Death Mistress since it pulls He Who Once Rocked, then you Death Mistress He Who Once Rocked. That's one of your best 1-2 curves. Then you just want to you want to either BR or Accelerate Chaotic Doom. You must get He Who Once Rocked, and then you want to double BR to pull this out of deck, Barrow Ride it, and then on 5, play one of your 1-cost BRs. On Departed, play Soultaker. If you can evolve and kill your Lara, do evolve and kill your Lara, and then play your Departed Soultaker, as you get an extra 4-4 which summons a 4-4 for free. Otherwise, don't. Your generic combo is your third option. There's a lot of third summon options in the desk. Then your Lakandula and your He Who Once Rocked. When you're playing the Ward variant, there is the OTK variant, which I'll talk about later. But in general, you're summoning your third option, Lakandula, and He Who Once Rocked. There are some situations where you're going to be summoning Sharon. You would rather summon Sharon than nothing, so it's important to realize that. Death Mistress and Bone Maven have the exact same thing. Death Mistress can actually be really, really good to summon. So most decks can't kill her. And if they can kill one through, say, a Planetary Fracture, through the Planetary Fracture, they usually can't kill the next 2, or the third one, the fourth one, that comes out of your He Who Once Rocked. And if you evolve He Who Once Rocked face and you have a Death Mistress on board, you can then use Thunder God or He Who Once Rocked being buried with Lara to do 7 plus 7 plus 6, which is 20 damage exactly. Because a lot of the time you evolve He Who Once Rocked face to try and set up lethal more consistently. Nope, that's not at all. Then you also got Sharon. Sharon's really good in the list. It gives you redundancies on He Who Once Rocked with your Iron's Remains, and then Tudor's Departed Soultaker. It's part of the reason why I don't recommend running Spirit Eater, since it makes Sharon far less consistent. And if you are running Spirit Eater, you don't actually need to run Sharon. But if you are not running a 9 or a 10 or a 12, you always run 3 Sharon. She is super strong for that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You just try and get doubles, so you can do left for draw, do it there, and draw early. It's super simple. Play your combo on 5, and you win the game. Sometimes you don't actually win the game on 5. A lot of that, there is the okay, I don't have my combo, but my opponent won't kill me. On 5, I have my Lara and my Salt Departed and my Call of Great Arm, but I don't have He Who Once Rooked in it. Something you can do then is just Lara Departed, and then not play Departed. So you have a 0-cost Departed in hand, try and do stuff, trying to set up your He Who Once Rocked for another turn, and then do your big board. That's pretty niche. It's much more important in the OTK variant than the normal variant. Other than that, and then the late game, this list is not very good in the late game. Especially like the Mirror is one of the few decks that you're liable to go to late game and not get killed for. Whoever comes first usually loses. That's kind of it. If you nut first, you tend to lose if you're not running any tech. So you build your board, your opponent builds the board, and you just pass the game. Because if you clear their board if you clear the first stage of the board, they can kill their stuff off, do the combo again, and hit you in the face with Lara stuff. And if they're running Tyrant, they can then just kill you. Quite often. So they may just kill you if you trade into their board, they can just kill you. You pretty much don't want to be trading into boards. It's pretty annoying in matchup. If you're running tech, you just win. And even in those matchups, you want to nut second. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Most of the time, you nut. If you have two Lara combos, you definitely do trade in. You want that to happen. Because if they do the stuff, you get you effectively go second on the second lot, which is great. So if you're in the Mirror, you're gonna have some good old rotation Wardhaven from like a year ago gameplay. You do nothing. Woo! So fun. And then the OTK variant, it's a bit harder to play since you cannot barrel rate anything other than neutrals, Skeleton Raiders, He Who Once Rocked, and Departed Soultakers. Yes, you can barrel rate Departed Soultaker because she excludes herself from the pool. And it is better to draw cards than do nothing and lose. That's why Altered Fate is in the deck. Otherwise, do the same stuff. Mulligan your Arleons, mulligan for your Thunder Gods, mulligan for your Demonic Procession. Do your stuff, draw a load of cards, try and get Skeleton Raider and He Who Once Rocked. On turn 5, you want a combo, your Departed, BR, your Lara, play Departed, summons a Skeleton Raider and He Who Once Rocked. You go face for 4, you go face for 5, dealing 9 damage. You play your enemy, popping your Raider into another Raider, popping your He Who Once Rocked, which, due to the last words effect, the Summon a Copier, summons another He Who Once Rocked and a Raider, because of its Reanimate. And then you can do another 4 from one Raider, 4 from a second Raider, and 5 from your He Who Once Rocked, for a total of 22 damage. If your opponent has a board, you can deal extra damage by doing Skeleton Raider. The most absurd thing about this deck is if you're playing into a board variant of this, you just kill them. You OTK them. If they build a board. Assuming that they don't get funny Chaotic Doom stuff, killing your Raiders, you can deal... you kill one thing off with your He Who Once Rocked, which doesn't proc. And then you have 3 Raiders in play, and they have 8 things that will die, unless they have they trade off a Lara somehow, which shouldn't happen in your matchup. But maybe they ping it with, maybe it's like turn 6 and they soul combo it. And if they do that, then you get an extra board and you get an extra 3 damage. So you do 2 plus 3 times 8 for a total of 26 burn in the mirror, or the Soultaker matchup with this deck. This is not a consistent deck. You're going to be winning like 35% of your games because Order of Fate has made this deck a lot stronger. You're far more consistent. If you don't run Order of Fate, you're going to be winning like 30% of your games. Not more than that. It's a pretty bad deck. It is very fun. Now, the deck core is so strong that you can run... This is not an optimal Machina list, by the way. You don't run Changeling Cherub in an optimal list, but who cares? It's a Machina list. It's going to suck anyway. But the deck core is so strong that this is fine. You can play this and do fine. You have 2 He Who Wants Rock things, a Roly-Poly to work, and 2 Roly-Polys to work through. That eats 4 punches minimum. Roly-Poly eats 4 punches. This is going to eat at least 2. You summon Colossal Skull Lord, which deal 4 damage to all enemy followers. You clear the board. It's so hard for your opponent to burn through everything. You got Hoverboard Mercenaries making your demonics work. It's really strong, super strong base game plan. Very few decks can actually chew through your entire board. The only deck that can chew through your entire board consistently without running tech is whatever Portal deck. And the Portal deck got nerfed. It can't do it anywhere near as consistently as it used to. And for them to do it in the first place, they need to immediately play. If they're not used to the deck, they're not going to kill you. This is also why Isis is included in the draw option, in the third summon option. It takes your board from 17 health to 21 health, meaning that you always die before you lose your entire board to Portal. Now I'm going to talk... Next thing is, if you're including 9s, you do change your deck list up. The reason for that is Sharon no longer consistently calls Departed. This is a now inconsistent tutor, and it is a 50-50 or less to get your Alara turn if you have no Soultaker in hand. You can also, if you've got like 2 Sharons or a Sharon in hand, you can just on 4 and you don't have Spirit Eaters done, just dump your Sharon if you have a Soultaker in your hand, and that you can play, because you're more likely to draw Spirit Eater off of your Sharon. If you do, you get your full combo turn and you just pretty much win every single game. Very few, even less. Actually, no decks that aren't ticking for you kill you through Spirit Eaters. Apart from the OTK deck, but that's a bad deck, so it doesn't matter. So this is a type of thing where you just throw Spirit Eater over whatever. That is an option. Or you can completely change up the deck, take out your 6s so that if you only have 8s in set. Otherwise, this is because Sharon is no longer consistent. You can then run the 3 Who Wants Rocked, Island Remains, and you can put Ambitious Goblin Mage in. And now your Thunder Gods and Lacandulas tutor your Laras. It's not actually 100% if you run 2 of this, because you can pull it, but 75% to pull Lara off of a 2 if include is very nice. You can then have He Who Wants Rocked pull any card. It's so, again, and I would recommend testing that out, because I've not played enough with Spirit Eater to say, here, as I say with here, this is a very, very good list. There might be like, cut a Lacandula for something. And if you're getting unlucky, Islands is going to be fucking you in the ass. This card is worth a 3 of a lot of the time, but the card might just hate you. It's safe to run this as a 2 of rather than a 3 of. It's mostly a matter of preference. I like the consistency. I would not say it's bad to run 2 of these. I think that is pretty much a preference call. You can cut an Ion, cut a Lacandula, add Planetary Fractures in for the Mirror, or both of the Ravenous, so that you tech for blood. Now, I'm going to talk about tech next. That's the wrong thing. You have a lot of tech options. Most of them are outclassed by Planetary Fracture, since a lot of your good tech is specifically for the Mirror Anatomy. Techs for the Mirror Anatomy really well. Destroys one thing for the shellers that you're never going to use. Sonata of Silence. You build your board, they build their board. You silence everything, go face and kill them. Pretty nice as a one-off with the mirror, but the mirror isn't common enough for it. Planetary Fracture, you clear the... You do the same thing where you, Lara, hold the Departed. Your opponent builds a board, you fracture them, you clear that, kill their entire board, and you have a full layer of board left behind. It's so strong, the mirror. Burst Tackle does the same thing, but it's specifically good for Atomy. Just Brown Fracture. Parting of the Fresh does the same kind of thing as Planetary Fracture, but it allows you to proactively play your board. Says if you do this, you're just doing Holozumi stuff. This is why the deck is unfavored into Holozumi as well. Holozumi evolves, transforms to your things and kills you. And you're sad. Infera, Glistening, Birth, Savoring Slash are all tech for... Oh, and Gilneas. All tech for Blood. Infera is one of those cards that you're running because you want to run at least 9 followers in your early game. I'll talk about why you want to do that later. And why you don't do it most of the time. Glistening Angel stops them from invoking, really strong for you. Birth of the Ravenous is just, you know, if you don't have Eternal Contract, you can't do your funny. And Savoring Slash is +1 barrel rate and removal, really, really nice. Good card into Blood, stops you from taking as much damage. Great. Real great. Dawn Splendor, I don't actually know if there's text for anything anymore. Oh, yes it does. It text for Holozumi. Holozumi does like 16 damage when you play Dawn Splendor. It's what, they have a 3-3, which they evolve into a 4, into a 5-5, and it takes -1 attack every time it attacks, rather than -2. So you take 4, 3, 7, there's another 3, so 2, and I think there's... No, you're only taking like 11 damage from Holozumi with Dawn Splendor. Problem with Dawn Splendor is, well, they just don't do anything for a turn. This is only good if you're taking for Holozumi in the OTK version. Don't run it otherwise. Goddess of Rebirth might seem better then, but cucks your Sharon. You don't like cucking your Sharon. It's bad. I'm running it there just to tell you that it's bad. Seraphic Blade. Do you actually run this for repose? You just kind of hope that you don't get killed and kill the repose with it. Archangel Remembrance is just a pretty nice card in the deck. It techs really, really well for Spinaria in particular, and this evolve effect's quite nice when going second. It's totally fine. If you're not into Portal or in that, you just BR it and you're happy. Did I talk about Gion? Gion is kind of bad. You're not running it for the 10, you're running it because it's a 2-cost heal 6. You don't do that. It's just bad. But it is an option if you want to see what's bad. Infera is a follower version of Savoring Slash. I want you to talk, as I said, more about it. Deadly Tyrant. It's a 13/13 Storm. It's a tech for my board got cleared enough that I can't kill them? Question mark, question mark. The card? I don't know if there's any matchup this is teching for, but it does something that's really nice for the deck, so I'm going to include it here. Celeste Omega. This is a much, much, much better tech for Haven than silly Seraphic Blade. Seraphic Blade, Goddess of Rebirth, Dawn Splendor, all of them are trash. They're not actually doing what you want them to. But what does do what you want it to is, oh no, fuck. Right, I can't kill my opponent. Omega them. Now they can't kill you. Works into Rune, works into Haven. Both of those decks can... Rune has to be running Mutagenic Bolt for that to work. Or like double fracture you. And then you're really sad if they do that. They usually can't kill you on the same turn they clear your board. If they can clear your board. So you just Omega them. Wait a turn and then you should win. Into Rune. Same thing with Haven. You're just trying to stall out their repose turns with Omega. That's the purpose of her tech, It stalls out some turns so you can do things. Spirit Eater is classified as a tech for Portal and the Mirror. And kinda for Atomy, because it just clears the board. Portal can't kill you if this is in play. They have to be running Puppet Box to kill this. And if they're not running Puppet Box and you summon this, they will just concede. It's that simple. Because you just ping them in the face over and over and over for their stuff. Okay, if they get Cassim, Evolve, Rosa, fine, but you're gonna clear 2 random things and it's probably gonna be a Cassim or a Rosa, and then they're gonna lose. Really, really great tech. It is so strong that you change the entire core just to include this card. It is amazing for the deck. The last 2 cards are Hades. This is a late game card. It does kind of the same thing as Deathly Tyrant. Gives you a Path of Purgatory, allows you to ping, 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 ping your opponent out, and win the late game. Pretty nice in the mirror, pretty nice into random control garbage that you're going to find. And finally, Ghost Town Apparition. This completely stops Haven from killing you. Just punch. If you are just running into exclusively Haven, summon Ghost Town Apparition. They can't kill you, and you punch them in the face a bunch of times, and then they die. Big plus. I don't think there's any other relevant tech. I mean, a lot of this tech isn't even relevant either. What's next? The draw. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about... No, we need to talk about the course of the deck. I probably should have talked about this second. So, here's your generic core. 2 Ileon, 2 Colagradon, 2 Lakin, Duela. And yeah, you got your Doom, you got your Sharon. You can run the next 9 cards at whatever draw or tech option you want. If you're running a 9+ card, this is your actual core. You lose quite a bit. You are liable to run the Hero 3 who wants rocked, maybe 1 Ileons rather than 2 or 3 of them. You lose Sharon because Sharon no longer has the hyper consistency that you like. She gives you an extra cost, which can be pretty bad. And that's pretty neat. But yeah, generally speaking, you've got these 31 cards or these 26 cards as your starting point. Although, I'm only saying Chaotic Doom is your core. That's not actually true. Chaotic Doom isn't technically core. Chaotic Doom is just by far the best option. See, Chaotic Doom, of every card here, has the least negative synergy with the deck, and just helps in it's just pretty nice in every single matchup. It does face damage, it draws you cards, it heals you, it clears stuff. The evolution point literally never matters. I think maybe one game. No, I haven't even had a game where the evolution point has won me the game, but I have seen a game where the evolution point won the game. That's how uncommon it is. The fact that I've been playing this exclusively for the expansion, and I've only seen another player win because of it. Anyway, if you're gonna run, I think it's like, okay, you say minus Chaotic Doom, and you're like this. Okay, I'm pretty happy. I think I should have. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I'm saving this. This is correct. This is the correct call. This is true. This is the real call. These 28 cards, or these 26 cards. I made a mistake. Okay. And then you have these 18 different cards to choose from. Okay. We've already talked about Spirit Eater a little, so I'm going to finish talking about Spirit Eater. We're going to talk about Spirit Eater, Deathbringer, Ghost Town in particular, because all of them have the same big downside, in that your Sharon is ass. Sharon loses the tutoring of He Who Once Rocked. It's one of the reasons that this... So the reason why Sharon is core in general is it makes you only need to run 1 He Who Once Rocked and then tutors Departed Soultaker. you have so much consistency added by her. Then, when you start adding in Ghost Town Apparition, which is a tech card and actually kind of bad, you no longer have that hyper consistent thing. You have to burn through 2 cards, not just 1 card, making it much, much, much less likely that you can get through to your departed Soultaker. We've already talked about Spirit Eater. Spirit Eater is actually worth cucking your deck, your Sharon for. It's so strong. It's just really, really good. I need to play more with Spirit Eater than I do. Deathbringer is just bad Spirit Eater. It heals you for a little bit more. That's a bonus. And that's the only reason it's there. Because if a Haven player is doing something, it might save you. Wow. Twilight Queen. Twilight Queen's kind of ass most of the time. She is fun if you have her. You can run 3 of her over the 3 chaotic dooms that I removed. The reason why I'm saying she's ass is because you generally have a full board due to he who wants rocks, reanimate, he summons 2, you go back full. But what is common enough is the fact that they just clear everything at the same time. It's very hard to kill both of these in a nice way that you don't end up giving you an extra summon. It makes things harder for your opponent, but often doesn't do anything more than be a 4-3 that makes your opponent make a slightly worse turn. If it does summon an extra thing, it's amazing. It will probably win you the game. If it summons an extra thing. It's really, really good. Soul Eater is your premium heal. It is the best card at healing of all of them, as it has no negative synergies in the deck. Nothing is interrupted apart from the fact that it doesn't cost 6 or 8, which is like really medium downside compared to everything else. Super mild downside that doesn't cost 6 or 8. Closest Tradition. This is a mediocre 6-drop that has a high roll potential on going second, where you can summon your Lara. You can do your Lara turn on turn 4. Pretty nice for that. Isis, I talked about it a little bit. The only reason this is here is because it's kind of good into Portal. You evolve it, you go from having 17 defense to AoE to 21 defense to AoE. Cassian pinging you in the face into Yuans will kill you before you will be dead before you will be unable to kill your opponent when you play Isis. We've talked about Celeste, great tech card. It's pretty decent on board. You don't like the reanimate. It kind of clunks, makes your early game weaker to include, because now you summon a random 2-drop that's just trash and eats a board slot. But the tech is worth it. It's super strong when you need it. I don't think that's a common enough situation to be worth it, but when it's good, it's good. Chaotic Doom, the definitive inclusion. You will see this all over the place. It's fun, does something random, pachinko. Hooray! Funny! It's a 5/5, it does things when you play it. It's good. It summons an extra copy of it, meaning it's a good continuation, gives you face damage, heals you, draws you cards, clears the board. It does everything you want. It even has Rush, meaning that when you summon it, you can trade it into something, have it die, do the funny, and then summon another one and kill another thing with it. It's so good. It's the best for a normal list. Okay, 7s. 7s have a big downside in that they contest Lacandula. This is only a downside and doesn't kill them. It's also why Maud is still in the list. Kawi, pretty good heals. That's all there is to say about it. Hinterland Ghoul. It doesn't interfere with your Sharon stuff and gives you more late game. And it's pretty decent into any deck that requires you to go further. If your deck doesn't require you to take longer, the fact that it doesn't have ward or anything usually won't matter. You generally will have enough ward existing because of your specific Hawar Lacandula set. But again, you don't have a guaranteed Hawar Lakandula. You will only have guaranteed 14 instead of guaranteed 17 defense. No, you know, actually, only guaranteed 10. Shit. Only guaranteed 10 defense? That's pretty bad. That's a huge downside. That's worse than I thought it was. Okay. Colossal Skull is AoE. AoE is pretty nice. It always does it. You will always have a Machina follower in play because you will have a war around. So you only do it to enemy followers. Pretty nice. Clears the board. You get to go face. Monster Trio is just kind of like bad Doom, but it does 2 face damage. That can matter. It means that you don't have to evolve Hawar to get your thing, or if you don't need a 6 health thing, there is like that niche little bit. That 2 damage does make it relevant. I wish this said deal 3. If it dealt 3, I'm pretty sure that would make it like perfect for the amount of damage. Right? 5 plus 5 plus 7 plus 7 plus 3 is only 17 damage. Never mind. No, 2 is fine. 2 is fine. Infinite board. That's all there is to say about it, with the downside. Mordecai. Infinite board, no downside other than it's an 8 drop. And there's no real downside to being an 8. You're already running 8s. The big downside is when you brick and have to get rid of one of these. You're not going to be summoning Mordecai as often. It also doesn't have ward, it doesn't heal, doesn't immediately attack, so it's kind of slow. Which is why it's not a base inclusion, but you can run it, you'll have some fun, and hey, you'll be able to use that, you'll listen to his voice lines after a long time. Raiders best in the OTK version of the deck. It is pretty nice in the non-OTK. You can do things like in the mirror, and a lot of the inclusions do talk about the mirror, because the mirror is where the most interactions happen. Because most decks either clear your board or don't, and then clear your board or die, or kill you. That's most of the interaction. So in the mirror, you don't have that interaction. If you are running Raider in the mirror and they've gone first, so they've done their thing first, they've evolved one of their guys, you can trade your Lara in. You can evolve and trade your Lara in, then trade your Hawar in to summon a second Raider, and then you should start clearing your opponent's board and then be able to kill them with whatever's remaining on your side. Very nice for that, but that's kind of all there is to it. It's a bit of extra face damage. It's not that relevant, but there is that little bit. You can run Raider. It is nice in the deck. It's face damage, board clear, everything you want, apart from healing and ward. Hades, don't get to talk about it, gives you late game, gives you an AoE, it's kind of nice. Tartarus gives you an AoE. Same thing as Colossal Skull Lord, but they're not as bad as the 8, 9, and 10 slot, since you can just run like 3 Sharon, Tartarus, one Tartarus, 1 Hawar, 3 Ileons, and be good. It is that +1 thing to dig through with Sharon, but you're fine there. And the last thing to talk about is the draw options. These are parts of your very last cards. The Machina cards are not good. I'm including them because the Machina list exists. Wayfaring Goblin, Soul Convo. Wayfaring Goblin Soul Convo is part of the reason why Emphera is a option in the tech slot. This is because I played a lot of this deck, and I found that if you don't have at least 9 2 or less costs, Soul Convo is too clunky to run. So you can end up then teching for some of your matchups by having Emphera's removal that can be pulled by Demonic Procession and can be Soul Convoed. You've got Wayfaring, you run like Wayfaring, Emphera, Veen, Soul Convo. That's a lot of your lot of deck slots taken out. You know, It's 12 slots. You don't have enough slots for that unless you're running this. Like, if you're running just the full core of the deck, yes, you can then run the full draw package, but now you can't consistently summon Lakandula. If you're cutting Lakandula, you probably want to run 3 Slash. So, Soul Convo is practically never in the deck. Wayfaring Goblin, same thing. You want to run Wayfaring Goblin so you can run Soul Convo, and it's really good in 1. Don't do that. Mystic Ring, you run this with 1 Lakandula so you can cycle it. I hate Mystic Ring. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to look at it. Don't want to acknowledge it exists. If you want to play it, you're stupid. It's bad. I hate it. But you can run it. Overboard Mercenary, don't play it. Unless you're playing the Machina version, then funny, it draws a card. It can be Soul Convo, it can be Departed, Demonic Processioned. Yep. Viennager Definitive 2/2 for 2 that draws a 2/2 for 2. 1/1 for 2 draws a card, you can Procession it, you can Soul Convo it. It's nice. Archangel is a tech card, it's put in the draw package because it draws 2 cards and evolve. Ding Dong, just run Veen. But it does have a little bit of healing in quotations, because it can take 3 damage, which is better than being in the blood matchup. Birth of the Ravenous is in the tech slot, right? Yes, it's a draw card. You draw quite a lot of cards, especially when you're going fast out of it, like 2 or 3. Very nice. Pure-Hearted Singer, it costs 3. It's bad. Okay. Genuinely, it costs 3. It's bad. That's true. But it draws you 2 cards for 3. It can be Demonic Processioned. It's playable. Same with Angel's Blessing, except it can't be Demonic Processioned. And it's really, really, really good. Exactly on turn 4 going second. Every other turn it's trash. The Angel Blessing in particular. This is just a bad card for the deck. Princess Knight is here for the same reason as it is in an Anatomy deck. It's not anywhere near as good because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things with it fanfares, but you don't run Archangel in it. You're running it to like hope to draw the specific fanfare that you need. Usually Skeleton Raider or Bone Maven, and then if you have everything, you're trying to draw one of your other 3 specific cards. It's a technical option that you can run. It's bad. It costs 3. Don't do it. Bans and Obliteration. You run it in the Machina version. It's one of the reasons why it exists. Don't play the Machina version. It's bad. Okay, I think that's everything. If I've forgotten anything, I'll probably make a comment. I don't remember anything. I have talked about the turn 4 list, which summons stuff. Oh, I don't think I talked enough about how if you're running Slash, you don't have to run Lakandulas as much, or Goblin Mage. Oh, why isn't Goblin Mage in here? I'm stupid. Yeah, I did already talk about Goblin Mage. I'll do it again. Goblin Mage is great in the deck. If you are running Goblin Mage, you tend to not want to be running anything else that costs, like in this list. If you're running Goblin Mage, you're generally only running like 7s or maybe 6s, so that you can then try to use those to tutor your Lara. Lakandula pulls itself, so you can use Lakandula for your Goblin Mage to tutor Lara. So you have a card that tutors itself and a tutor for a card that... and a tutor for Lara from that tutor. For that self-tutoring card. That's why Goblin Mage is really great. One of your better options if you're not running 6s. If you're running Spirit Eaters and stuff, so you're not running 6s. I heavily recommend, if you're running Spirit Eater, to run Goblin Mage and no 6s. But again, yeah, you're either running Goblin Mage or Sharon with Spirit Eaters. That's your choice in general. yeah, okay. I think that's everything.